Are carbs at night going to cause weight gain? Let's find out. Welcome to 9 Minutes to Better Health, a podcast series that breaks down real science for you to use in your daily life. G'day, I'm Dr. Nick Fuller. I'm an obesity expert from the University of Sydney and RPA Hospital. In my 15 years in the field, I've seen, heard and helped people from every demographic. And I've seen, heard and observed every fad diet and weight loss diet that exists. And here's the thing. They all work short term, but then the weight comes back. The truth about obesity is it's a multifaceted problem. And on 9 Minutes to Better Health, I'm going to arm you with the science that you can use every day to answer important questions. Each podcast, I will tackle the latest research on interesting health and wellness subjects. I'll chat about topics like, how many eggs per week can you eat? Is it okay to skip breakfast if you're trying to lose weight? And does caffeine speed up your metabolism and help with weight loss? Which is a topic we covered last week, so make sure to go back and listen. But back to today's chat. Should you be avoiding carbs at night? There's intense debate about what type of diet is most effective for weight loss. Those with a focus on protein, those that emphasize carbohydrates, or those that focus on fat, and it's been going on for decades. But what we're particularly interested in today's chat is carbs. For decades, we've been told to stay away from them. Originating in the 1970s with the evolution of the Atkins Diet, this has since morphed into other well-known diets. For example, Paleo and Keto, which advocate the cutting of carbs. However, as I'll explain in today's podcast, there's no science to show you should be cutting them out of your diet or at your evening meal. In fact, the science shows you should be eating carbs with every meal. They are good for your health and they help you lose weight. Let's do a deep dive into the literature to find out why that's the case. First, I want to tackle the macronutrient side of things. And what I mean by this is how much fat, how much protein, and how much carbohydrate in the diet produces the greatest weight loss. One of the best conducted studies looking at the effects of different diets on your weight was published in the prestigious journal called New England Journal of Medicine. As with all the podcasts, you will find the studies in the show notes. In this study, they randomized more than 800 people to one of 4 diets of varying macronutrient composition, either low or high fat, average or high in protein, or low or high in carbohydrate. The diets consisted of similar foods and met guidelines for cardiovascular health, and the participants were followed up for 2 years. This is important to highlight as many diet studies only run for 3 to 6 months, with no further follow-up. In these short duration studies, they typically show that low-carb, high-protein diets result in greater weight loss. And there's several reasons for why this might occur. But the main one is because eliminating carbs from the diet will help you experience short-term and rapid weight loss due to a decrease in body water. Glycogen, the storage unit for carbs, binds a lot of water in the body, which ends up weighing quite a bit. So when you take them out, you're also reducing total water content. Its popularity is also due to the easy set of rules you're required to follow. That is, cut out carbs. But it can be hard to sustain, as these are foods we enjoy. Back to the results from the long-term study. When participants reached the 2-year mark, weight loss was the same for all 4 diet groups, and all diets improved diabetes and heart disease risk factors to the same extent. So it didn't matter if you were consuming low carb, high protein, moderate protein, low fat or high fat, everyone ended up with the same weight loss at 2 years. Even though you will likely lose more weight on a low carb diet over 3 to 6 months, when compared to a high carb or high fat diet, this evens out at 1 to 2 years, and everyone ends up with the same weight loss. Now moving on to another part of today's podcast. Will eating carbs at night be detrimental to your waistline? There's no research to suggest this is the case, but here's the thing. If you sit down to a meal that is largely protein and fat, for example some fish and veg, you're going to wake up lighter in the morning than if you've had a meal that contained carbs, protein and fat, for example fish, brown rice and veg. And that's because your body water content will be higher. It's not because of a change in fat mass from the carbs you've excluded. You're simply masking your true set body weight and your weight will go back up at the next meal that contains carbs. And this is why they're often the scapegoat for our weight problem. What matters most, as I've discussed in a previous podcast, is how much food you're having at the evening meal. In the modern day environment, dinner is often the biggest meal of the day, and this is the very problem. This is the time of the day when we should be consuming the least amount of food, because our body does not work as efficiently at this time of day. It burns the calories from a meal 2.5 times more efficiently in the morning versus evening. So instead of cutting carbs from the evening meal, focus on cutting the portion size at the evening meal, and focus on cutting the white refined carbohydrates. For example, the white rice, white pasta, white bread and bakery goods from your diet. Not the whole grain carbohydrates that are packed with nutrition and good for your health. Science has proven that the inclusion of whole grain carbs in your daily eating plan will not only help you on your weight loss journey, but also protect you against disease, such as type 2 diabetes, heart disease and colon cancer. This is because they are high in fibre and loads of other nutrients, including phytochemicals, which protect your cells from damage. My advice: you need to include carbs at every meal, but this should be of the whole grain variety, not the white refined carbs that have little nutritional value. This ensures every meal is balanced and will help you feel fuller for longer. 2. A balanced meal includes a source of protein, a source of whole grain carbohydrate, and a source of good fat at each meal. For example, a healthy and balanced breakfast would be rolled oats as your whole grain carb, milk or yogurt as your protein source, and 100% nut butter as your source of good fat, with some fruit on top. 3. If you're trying to lose weight, focus on eating big to small throughout the day, not cutting out carbs. Make sure to check out a previous podcast I did on this topic. Does mealtime matter, and should you be skipping breakfast? Your body burns the calories from the meal at breakfast 2.5 times more efficiently than if you had the same meal at dinner. The take-home message: there's no science to suggest that carbs at night make you put on weight. That's just your friend, family member or colleague proclaiming to be a so-called expert on all things health. Listen to healthcare professionals that have studied the science of obesity and weight loss. For more help on your health and weight loss journey, make sure to check out the show notes. That's all for today, so please give us a like and share with others if you're enjoying the content, and make sure to subscribe to the podcast to stay updated. The information provided in this podcast is for educational purposes only. It does not substitute professional medical advice or consultations with healthcare professionals.